Hello one and all, welcome back to ArcheAge Inspiration. My name is Cilantro. Today's rolls are 4, 6, and 7. So let's see what we get. Looks like Sorcery, Witchcraft, Oromancy. Ooh, this is going to be a fun one. Sounds like we got a little bit of the old damages here. In fact, I think I know this class. This is a Arcanist. Not too bad. Okay, let's figure out what the Arcanist can do. Alright, let's take a look at what I've come up with the Arcanist. More or less taking sort of the standard sorcery witchcraft package. There's not a lot to say here. I chose to go with sort of a standard build, deviating only slightly from what you might normally expect for whatever kind of build you're using. The biggest contrast I have for this type of build is how to compare it with a dagger spell. Dagger spell is sorcery, witchcraft, and shadow play, well regarded as a very nice and versatile build. I think what the Arcanist brings to you with Oromancy is a little bit higher DPS in PvE, at least. Thwart can bring a lot of extra DPS just from the global cooldown reduction. Also, you have a better sustain with Meditate, providing you a large boost of mana every 2 minutes, usually when it'll matter, of course. My personal mana pool is not all that deep because I wear a lot of spirit gear instead of intelligence gear, but if you have a much deeper mana pool, somewhere in the 10 to 11,000 range, Meditate will do quite nicely for you because it is a percentage of your max mana per tick rather than a flat amount. Very nice indeed. You have a few other options with Oromancy that you could pick up as well. Liberation gives you immunity to Shackle and Silence. The Silence, of course, being the more important thing to deal with this particular build. Leech offers another crowd control option if needed. And, of course, it did actually take Shrug It Off, which is quite nice, giving you a stun and impale break where you normally would not have one. You're still vulnerable to trips, but having a stun break can get you out of a lot of situations. Also helps you against fellow casters with a magic damage decrease. You could also take Conversion Shield for yet another magic defensive ability and actually wear Lake Plate or some other sort of plate that has high intelligence, relying on things like Purge, Shrug It Off, and Conversion Shield to make up the loss of magic defense that you would otherwise have gained. Certainly an option, not mandatory. Also worthy of mentioning is Protective Wings, a great ability to have in Greater Howling Abyss because of some of the bosses there, namely the third boss. This can be very good to help your group get through that fight without too much of a problem. Otherwise, not a whole lot to say. Standard stuff here with all the different combos. There's a few passives you could pick up in Sorcery that are really nice as well. Magic Precision for extra crit. Aaron Zeb's Infusion for extra damage. You have mana passives as well with Efficient Sorcery and mana pool increase. Cast speed is optional as well. Mana Flurry Folding Time can get you a 10% reduction in cast time, but most of your primary abilities don't really involve a lot of casting, and the ones that do are likely going to be cast over the period of an enemy being crowd controlled. So for example, Lassitude, Long Time Sleep, as well as Bubble Trap, a long time bubble, can be comboed with your long casting spells to make sure that they deal their most damage. So the cast speed, not really that much of a big deal. But the rest of the things are quite optional. You could also as well pick up Magic Detection if you want more magic defense. You have an option to get Mitigation and, of course, Enshroud for the cooldown reduction. So plenty of options here for a build of this caliber. Most important thing that really makes it deviate from a lot of other builds with Witchcraft and Sorcery is the Inspire stack, though. Make sure you're constantly using this. This does give you a very nice attack speed boost, and of course attack speed not only increases your actual melee attack speed, but it also reduces your global cooldown, making all of your spells work so much faster. Allowing for your combos to have better timing and what little crowd control training you have to be better offered as well. So I'll just show off a few things that most dagger spell types or most types with Witchcraft and Sorcery may use to initiate a fight. One of the most common ones is to use Focal Concussion followed by Banshee Wail and then immediately followed by Lassitude. The nice thing about this is that if the Banshee Wail fear is broken, the stun will still inflict upon them, and then it's very likely that the Lassitude sleep will then kick in, and Focal Concussion gives you plenty of time to follow up with those, especially if you have a reduced global cooldown. So I'll go ahead and show you that. We're going to Focal, immediately go into the Banshee Wail, and then that we can get our distance. The target will then fall asleep. We have a few options from here. We can drop a Magic Circle and immediately go into a Meteor. Certainly an option here. because of our reduced global cooldown, we're going to go ahead and zap them with some lightning as well, and then immediately bubble them. This will get a nice combo because bubble combos off of both electric shock and the burn from the meteor, raising the target quite up in the air for a large amount of fall damage when it falls. We're going to follow up with an arc lighting, one of our highest damaging spells. While they're falling, we're going to innovate and then immediately hit them with an earthen grip. This allows us to keep them in place for whatever random other spells we need to finish them off. So that's usually the normal game plan for a dagger spell type, or in this case the Arcanist, in a one-on-one situation. Some variation of that, doesn't have to be exactly that, but just goes to show some of the things you can possibly do with the build. You know, if worse comes to worse, you can always just stick with Freezing Arrow and Flame Bolt spam, but you have a large toolbox available to you, crowd control elements, high damage, and the extra utility that Auramancy provides. I think the Arcanist is a little underrated, maybe. I've never really seen too many of them. Of course, in World PvP, stealth is very powerful, which I think is one of the reasons that Dagger Spell is so widely loved and used and abused. But if you're in a dungeon, or if you're in larger scale PvP, maybe where the stealth isn't quite as important, but where your sustained damage may be more important, also giving yourself a little bit more maneuverability with teleportation, try the Arcanist out. Could be very interesting. Anyway, that's all I had to say about this combination. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.